on in, everyone. Come on in because we are here to discuss the Cam Newton video with Dr. Bryant. A lot of you wanted me to do a review on this video. And sometimes I stray away from stuff like this because I don't know. I just feel like when we get in these kind of conversations, I feel like it's just a lot of denial on the dating world. I mean, I know we don't always like everything about the dating world, but it is what it is. Some of this stuff, to be honest with y'all, we're just never going to change. And the more we try to fight against it, the more you're going to really live outside of you living maybe the purpose of your life or what you need to go on and do. I'm going to tell you right now, for all of you people out there who watch my videos, you know I'm going to give it to you straight. I'm going to tell you right now, I agree and disagree with Cam Newton. And I also agree and disagree with Dr. Bryant. Now, I'm not going to talk about the entire video. I'm really going to focus on the part where they started talking about low function, high function, low value, whatever. And it starts around the 4408 moment of the whole Cam Newton video. So if any of you haven't watched it, go ahead and watch that. It's only about a 20-minute of the whole video, which is hours long, is really only about a 20-minute portion that I'm talking about. He actually has it tagged in his video, so it'll be easy for you to find. But I'll say this right now. Cam Newton is rich, but he's low functioning. Okay, he's rich, but he's low functioning. That's just what it is. He's rich, but he's low functioning because let's be honest, if Cam Newton didn't have the money that he had, would he be considered high value, going around having babies with 3 or 4 different women, 8 babies by 3 or 4 different women? No, he wouldn't. If he was not rich, he would not be able to do what he's doing and still have this marking out there of high function or high value. Okay, so with that, I'm also going to correct Dr. Bryant because one of the points that Cam Newton was making, that even with all of his 8 children, 4 baby mamas, 3 baby mamas, whatever you want to call it, not wanting to marry women, he was still considering himself of high value because what he was doing was he was saying that this money I got, this money I have is very, very important to women. And what I'm able to bring to the table, even though I have 8 kids by 3 different women, I'm able to provide for all those women and I'm able to provide for all those children. So therefore, I have high value. And what what Dr. Bryant was saying is, no, she was diminishing the value of his money in this designation of being a high value man. And that's also wrong because unfortunately, Dr. Bryant, Cam is right. The ability of a man to provide for his family is one of the things that does help make a man high value. And I know we don't want to acknowledge that, but it's true. And the reason why I'm going to get into this is because in women's eyes, women's need for protection is high, and money in today's world represents protection. Because you see, a woman is born to be a nurturer. She's born to care for her children. Just like in the a lion's pride, she is there to care for her children. But it is the male's job to protect the female and her cubs. Because a woman knows, even a woman, a real woman like me, like you women, we worry about our children. And what we think about is if something were to happen to me, who will protect my children? And that protection comes through money. Even a woman who has her money. This is why you find women who have money still want men who have money, because a woman doesn't want to be completely reliant upon herself, because what she's saying is, if something happens to me, if something happens to my money, even though I have some right now, who will protect my children? And this is why men of money are valued. So what I didn't like about the Cam versus Dr. Bryant is that Cam was assuming that just because he has money, he has met all the other qualifications of being a high value man or even a high functioning man. And I don't believe that's true. And Dr. Bryant was kind of saying that a high functioning man is a man that has emotional intelligence and emotional regulation. And the money part wasn't a big part of it. And I don't agree with that. I think it is a big part. And this is the part where men and women run into problems in dating. A lot of women, men and women, they want affirmative action in dating. That's what I look at it as. They want affirmative action in dating. Let's say you're a smart person. Let's go back to college. You're a smart person and you think you're smart enough to get into Harvard. And let's say you don't get into Harvard. You don't get into Harvard. And so you're upset and you're saying, I should have gotten into Harvard for all these other things that I also brought to the table. Where Harvard may say, well, no, we're only looking at these things. And you go, well, I should have still gotten to Harvard because I bring all these other things to the table. Well, that's not how it works. But it doesn't mean that you can't go to a college. You see, that's the thing. Just because you can't get into Harvard doesn't mean you can't go to college. But what a lot of people do is they want to get into Harvard, men and women. See, they want to be selected into a certain group, even though that group, that school, that university has said, well, these are the only things I'm looking at. You want me to start looking at other things to let you into Harvard, but we only want to look at three or four things. And you say, well, that's not fair. It's not fair. You should look at all these other things I'm bringing to the table besides just these few things. And Harvard is saying, no, that's not our criteria. And that's also the problem that goes on in dating. Both men and women don't want to accept the criteria that is innately in us, right? And I'm going to tell you what the criteria is. Actually very simple. I don't even know why we're so confused over it. Let me tell you what men value, ladies. Men value emotional regulation, just like Dr. Bryant said. She was absolutely correct on that, because emotional regulation is what you hear a lot of men when they talk about peace. They want a woman who is not going to be so out of control with her emotions that she wreaks havoc in her life. He doesn't want that. So emotional regulation, with what Dr. Bryant was saying about a high functioning woman, is her ability to control her emotions, to regulate, to feel it, because it doesn't mean you don't feel it, ladies. We feel it. We all feel it. But the high functioning comes when you feel it, but you're able to regulate the way in which you explain it, talk about it, display it. That's high functioning. She's correct about that. But where she stopped short of is what she didn't also say is that men value two things. They do value emotional regulation by a woman because that's their peace. But the other part that men absolutely value with women is the beauty of a woman, her body and her beauty. You see, a woman's body and her beauty is her currency. It's her wealth. Along with her emotional regulation, her body and her beauty is part of her wealth. I know women don't want to hear this. I know women want to believe that all women are on the same level, but they're not. Okay. And nothing's wrong with it. It doesn't mean that a woman of lesser beauty cannot have a husband. You see, but there are two criteria to a woman who's on a pedestal. One is emotional regulation, but that emotional regulated woman also has beauty and a nice body. And let me tell you, ladies, it's not about the wealth of the woman. I know women want to substitute beauty and body for wealth, education, career, but you can't substitute it. It doesn't mean that education and intelligence isn't valued by a man. It's an add-on. It absolutely is extra. It's that stuff that helps you when you say, I want to get into Harvard. It's those extra things. It is valued. It is a value. But when you look at the hierarchy of what's on a man's mind, it's going to be emotional intelligence, like Dr. Bryant said, emotional regulation, and also beauty. That's where, because a man is, he's got to be attracted to y'all. I know we don't want to hear this, but he has absolutely got to be attracted to you. But it doesn't mean that he doesn't find further attraction due to your intelligence. He does, but you can't substitute it. This is what I'm saying. You can't get in Harvard and say, I don't have the basics. I don't have the SAT score. I don't have the GPA. So I want you to substitute the GPA, and I want you to substitute, all these other mandatory things. And I want you to add in that I do a lot of community service. No, the community service adds on. They do value that, but they're not going to substitute it. And that's where women get confused. So, and then the part where what men value, or what women value in men, is women value the same thing like Dr. Bryant says. They also value emotional intelligence in a man, because what women value is how you treat me as a woman. And you need a man with emotional regulation, just like Dr. Bryant said, that you don't go off, that you treat me well, that you talk to me in a respectful manner. That's emotional regulation. That is the stuff that Dr. Bryant is talking about when she says she wants a high functioning man. Okay. But the other part that a woman wants is she wants security. She wants to feel safe. She wants to know that if something happened to me, even though I'm out here making my own money, or whether I make money or I don't want to make money, she wants to know that she can be protected by that man. And when I say protection, it's financial protection. Okay. It's like, yeah, there is this level of protection. I want you to protect me from intruders. But most of the danger that women face in the world isn't about physical harm to them, right? But what most women are afraid about every day is how I'm going to pay these bills. How am I going to care for these children financially? So men who have money provide security for those women. And that security is important whether or not they have their own money or not. It becomes more important to women who don't have their own money, but it doesn't mean it's any less important to a woman that does. That's why you always hear a lot of women say, yeah, I have my own money. Yeah, but I don't want us dependent on my money. Because what she's saying is, I need that level of financial security, and I want that from my man. And where men get mixed up, just like I said, women want to substitute beauty for education. What men want to do is they want to substitute their money for beauty. So when men don't have money and they can't provide the financial security of a woman, what they want to do is they want to tell a woman, well, you shouldn't need me to make all this money. But yet those men want to be able to say, but I'm just going to treat you real nice. You see that's what they do. They say, I don't have the second part of the formula, which is emotional security, regulation, high functioning, all that stuff that Dr. Bryant was. They're missing the financial component. So then what they say is, because I'm missing the financial component, I want you just to care about how I treat you. What difference does it make how much money I make? I just want you to care about how I treat you, and that should be enough for you. Well, same thing I'm going to say to men. You can't substitute it. You can't substitute it, because a woman may still love a man who makes less than her. A woman may still be with a man who makes the same money as her. But what she won't feel in that relationship, she'll never feel as comfortable and as safe and secure financially as a woman who is with a man that can provide for everything. And so what you have in these species, men and women, is you really do have a hierarchy of what women's needs are and men's needs are. And when either one of us falls short, we like to substitute. And where we're running into problems is we're trying to substitute. And when we try to substitute, when the other species doesn't react to our own substitution, we're upset with each other. You see, Cam Newton was over here talking about a high functioning man will never know true love, because what he was saying was that women are with him for his money. And so because women are with him for his money, he doesn't know if the women really love him. And it's probably because that is what women date Cam Newton for. They are definitely dating Cam Newton for his money. Because remember, the criteria would be to be a high functioning man with money. And what Cam Newton is a man with money, and he's low functioning. So in his fear of never really knowing true love, he's correct. He is correct in his fear. And that's what I didn't like that Dr. Bryant didn't acknowledge that. when he was saying he never can really experience true love, because what he was saying was, if my money were to leave me, would I still have access to these women that I have access to? And the answer is no. And it's nothing wrong with Dr. Bryant acknowledging that yes, right now, because you are only 50% of the component, Cam Newton, which is high functioning, emotional intelligence, along with having money, and you only have 50% of the criteria, you are correct. If you lose that 50%, you are right. You will be left by women. You will be left by women. And look at the pride of a lion, the pride of a lion. The woman's allegiance to that male lion is because that male is protecting her. That male is protecting her and her cubs. She goes out, she hunts, she gets food, but what she's with him for is for that protection. If that male can no longer protect her, she will leave that male lion and she will go with another male that can protect her. So the fear of Cam Newton is real. And it's true. And what I would have wanted Dr. Bryant was to acknowledge that it's real. Because by denying that it's not real, we're trying to act like women and men rely upon the same things. It's not true. It's not true. But on the flip side, Cam Newton, let's reverse it with a woman. If a man's needs are a high functioning woman, emotional intelligence, emotional regulation, and it's also beauty, a woman's fear is that if I lose my beauty, a man will leave me. It could be a fear. It absolutely could be a fear. If my husband stops being attracted to me for whatever reason, then I could lose my husband. It's a real fear. So keeping the attraction alive between you and your husband is important, ladies. Now, I'm not saying you got to be 120 pounds, 5'9", whatever the attraction your husband has for you, it is important that you keep it there because it's true. 50%, two criteria. One is your high functioning emotional regulation and your husband is attracted to you. If your husband loses the attraction to you physically for whatever reason that may become, you're in danger of losing that man. Absolutely true. And men are attracted to all different sizes, shapes, colors, styles. So it doesn't mean that you have to look exactly like certain other women, but you have to be attractive to that man. That man has to have an attraction to you. And that's why I tell women are often hunting men who they want. And I say, well, that's not going to work, ladies, because the main criteria for men is to be attracted to you. So it doesn't really matter if you are attracted to the man, because if he's not attracted to you, you're not going nowhere. And you cannot trade intelligence. And I'm not talking about emotional intelligence. I'm talking about brains, smartness, careers, money. You can't trade that for his physical attraction to you. And I know we don't want to accept these rules in dating, but they are here and they are here to stay. They've been here for a long time, people. They're not going nowhere. They're not going away. When Dr. Bryant was trying to explain what a high functioning woman was, she told Cam Newton that a high functioning woman is a woman that doesn't need you but wants you. And I'm going to take issue with that because there is not a woman out here that doesn't need a man. There's not a woman out here. I don't believe it even exists. Now, when I say there isn't a woman that doesn't need a man, I'm talking about in all aspects of her life. Women have tons of surrogate men in their lives. She may not have a husband. She may not have a boyfriend, but there is a man in her life that she depends on for those male parts that she needs. You see, she may have a father. She may have an uncle. She may have a good male, a best friend. There is a need for every woman to have a man in her life. So even though she hasn't found a man to supply that need plus be her lover, it doesn't mean she doesn't need a man. Every woman needs a man in her life. And I'm going to tell you, every man needs a woman in his life. Both. We both need each other. That's what makes us interdependent on each other. So I really wish everyone should stop saying, women and men, that they're independent of women, because they're not. A lot of men who are single think they don't need women, but yet they're mama boys. They're dependent on a woman. They're just getting their female parts from a non-sexual partner. They're getting it from female friends. They're getting it from aunts. They're getting it from their mother. That part, that need they have to have a woman in their life for what women bring uniquely to relationships, they're getting it. Emotional support, they're getting it from a woman. They need women, and women need men. Even though they may not have a husband, like I said, or a lover or a boyfriend, they have a male in their life that they need those male parts in their life. None of us are independent of each other. We are all dependent on each other. We just don't find and fulfill those parts that we need in the exact same way. But men need women and women need men. So let's stop. Why is this even a debate? Like I said, even women with money still want the security of a man that comes with the money that he has. She still wants it. It doesn't matter how much money she has. She still wants to know that if anything happened to me, one is he could provide for him and me, and he could provide for him, me, and my cubs, my kids. That is extremely important to any woman. And a woman wants a man who has and a man wants a woman who has emotional regulation, because what he says is, I want her to be able to regulate herself with me. And I also want her to be able to regulate herself with any children I might have with her. When a woman can't regulate herself with a man, when she's crazy and out of the box and can't control herself, a man looks at that and says, well, how will she raise our children? She's going to raise our children the same way she is. And that doesn't make him feel safe, because what he knows is it is my job to protect the woman and our children. And if the woman becomes an enemy of our children, why would I want that? Why would I want a woman who attacks me verbally? She will attack her cubs. She will attack her children. And if I'm in charge of protecting the children and the cubs, why would I want an enemy in the house? The woman becomes the enemy of even the children. If a woman or a man is having problems pairing with a woman, like if a man is having problems pairing with a woman or finding a woman to pair with, and a woman is finding it hard to pair with a man, they need to look at these two things. And I'm going to start with the woman first. If you are a woman and you have the part that's high functioning, let's just say you have emotional regulation, you've got that down pat. And that's a big given, because a lot of women don't have control over the emotions. Lots of times when people watch my channel, they will often say, oh, you take the man's side. No, let's clear this up right away. If you want to understand what someone else values, you have to listen to those other people. I know a lot of people grew up in a house, and they still probably have a household in which the voices of men are diminished, in which there's a house or family run by women. So the voice of the woman reigns supreme. The problem with the voice of the woman reigning supreme, let's say you grew up in a house with only a single mother, is that her voice mattered the most, because she's the head of the house. She was a single mother. Doesn't matter that you had brothers in the house. Her voice mattered the most. So what you could grow up believing is that her voice matters the most. And it doesn't matter what men think. And then what you become used to is the thoughts of the woman become the most important. No. Now, if you want to run your own household, then you're right. Your voice is the most important. But if you want to pair with a man, you have to listen to what they want. It doesn't mean that you have to agree, because oftentimes you may not agree, because men and women are different. But you do have to be able to listen, because if you always tune them out, then you're never going to learn. You've got to learn the motivations of other people. You've got to learn what makes other people tick, because if you want something from that person, you've got to know what satisfies that person. And oftentimes what women do is they want to feed men what they want to feed men. Like I said, they want to trade what men value, which is being attracted to a woman, beauty, and a woman's body. They want to trade that. They come upon a man and they say that this man is, wow, I want that man, but that man isn't attracted to me, and they become angry and upset. Why are you angry and upset that he's not attracted to you, that he doesn't like your body style, he doesn't like your looks? Why are you upset? This is a cornerstone of how men pick women. And the woman come along and say, well, I want to trade my beauty for my career, my success, the money what I make. Well, that's not up for you to trade. That's up to that man to trade that. So a woman says, well, I want to trade it. No, you don't need to trade it. What you need to do is you need to find a man that finds you attractive. There's one out there. There's one out there that finds you attractive. And if no man finds you attractive, then that's on you, because you should be attractive physically to some man out there. You may not be attractive physically to every man, but if you are unattractive to every man out there, that's some work you need to do. You need to invest in that in yourself. If you find yourself unattractive physically to every man out there, there is something you need to do about that, because you should be physically attractive to some men. Should you be physically attractive to all men? No, you don't need that. You don't need that. So when that woman finds a man that doesn't have the two parts, the emotional regulation that Dr. Bryant talked about, and a man with money, what the woman will do is she'll say that since you don't have one part of your 50% man, you ain't got the money. What I'm going to do is I'm going to not give you a 50% of what you want. Because remember, a woman wants emotional intelligence, treat me right, protect my cubs, protect me. And the woman wants emotional regulation, treat me right. And then she wants the protection of the man's money, protect me, protect my cubs. When that man doesn't have the two, and the woman is required to bring in emotional intelligence, and she's also bringing in beauty, the woman decides, well, since you don't have the money, I'm going to substitute one of your needs. Remember, his need was beauty. So a woman comes in and she says, wow, okay, you don't have your two. What can I substitute? And oftentimes what the woman substitutes, what does she substitute? Let's say she has emotional regulation. She's able to control. She's peace. But she says, I can't bring beauty into it, so I want to substitute it. That's what she says. She says, man, you don't have the money. So because you don't have money, you should then settle for me, a woman who has less beauty. That's the swap. That's the swap. And let me tell you something, a lot of men do it. Because what a man say is, I know I don't have the money to get a real bombshell woman. He knows it. He says, I don't have the money to get a real bombshell woman. So a man without money has already in some ways conceded he may have to be with a woman that's not as beautiful. Okay. Men with money don't have to concede on beauty because they got money. Men who have emotional intelligence but no money have realized that they are not going to get the most beautiful women out there because the men with money are going to get those women. So you have a man, emotional intelligence, high functioning here, but no money. A woman says, oh, okay, you don't have both of what I want. You don't have the high functioning emotional intelligence and you don't have the money. So the woman says, I get to swap something. Now, remember, as a female, I'm supposed to be bringing in emotional intelligence, his peace, along with beauty. So I say, wow, I don't really have any beauty, right? I don't really have any beauty. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to substitute my beauty for my career and my money. And then when I bring in my career and my money, what I start to believe is that because I've brought in money and he hasn't brought in money, guess what I can now slack on? The emotional intelligence. Now I could talk to him any kind of way. Because what the woman has said is, he ain't bringing in money to the 50%. I'm bringing in money to the 50%. So since I'm bringing in money to the 50%, I don't need to care about the emotional regulation. So a woman falsely comes into a relationship with a man who, remember, what the man really wants is emotional regulation and beauty. What the woman substituted says, I'm not going to bring emotional regulation and beauty, but what I'm going to bring into the relationship is money, career, and intelligence. And because I'm bringing something that he's not bringing, now I can slack off on my emotional intelligence and not be his piece. Nope, that ain't going to work. That ain't going to work, because now what you've had a man do is he's given up both parts. He's given up the emotional intelligence, the peace, and he's also given up the beauty, right? You, on the other hand, have decided to come into the relationship as a woman, not only bringing the beauty that he really wants, you're also now not bringing the emotional regulation. So you're hell on wheels. You're hell on wheels. Why would he go for that? That's a bad deal for the man. Now, on the flip, what happens when a man is chasing a woman and he doesn't have one of his 50%? He doesn't have emotional intelligence and he doesn't have money. And he tries to go out and get the beautiful woman. He knows he can't get her. He knows he can't get the beautiful woman. Right? Men with money think they can treat women any crappy, any kind of way. Pretty much that's what Cam Newton's doing. He believes that his money outweighs him treating those women the right way. And those women may say that they're being treated well, but they're being treated well because they're getting what they want the most. They value the money the most. They don't value that, hey, to them it's the security of him taking care of them and their children. That's fine. But is it respectful for him to continue to father multiple children with multiple women? No, that's not respectful. That's not emotionally caring for those women. Now, he may be financially caring for those women, but he's not emotionally caring for those women. That's low functioning. So what's happened to women when they're missing that 50% of a man? What's happening to women when they can't get the two things they want or need, which is a high functioning man, emotional intelligence, but also the money, the security that the man's money brings? What you've seen a lot of women do is a lot of women have actually started doing what men doing. They've been substituting the money part for men who look good. You see it on all these dating shows. I watch Pop the Balloon dating shows. You have a lot of women that, because the women have a certain view of their life, what they say is there's men out here who both have low functioning and no money, or men who are high functioning, who are good men, but don't have any money. And then what these women do is they've actually taken on some of the characteristics of a man and say, well, I want to substitute good looks. So now you have women choosing men based on looks. You're not even having women pick men based on if they're emotionally intelligent and if they could provide. You now have women who've said, well, I can provide for myself. I have my own job. I have my own career. I make a lot of money. So now, because I know there aren't men who can match my salary, now I'm going to substitute the money portion of this two-part equation with good-looking men. So then they say, well, now I want a man who is emotional, intelligent, and looks real good. So they're out there looking for exactly what men are looking for. Remember, that's what men are looking for. They're looking for emotionally intelligent women, right? And who are good-looking. Women have now said, because I can't find men who provide me with the financial security I'm looking for, right? I'm going to substitute the money component with a man who looks good. And then they go out there and say, well, I don't like him. I don't like the way he looks. I don't like the way he looks. I don't like the way he looks. And so what these women are doing is they're just out here alone. They're out here alone because what they said is, I don't want to accept a man who makes less money than me. I don't want to accept a man who doesn't provide any more level of security for me, in which I already provide for myself. So what women have done is they've said, man, because you can't provide the protection and security I need, I'm not going to value you, right? That's what they've said. You're of no value to me unless you find. If you got emotional intelligence and you find, I'll consider you. But because you have no financial security to offer me, I'm not going to consider you. But this goes back to what I was saying before, and I always tell my videos. Everyone's going to settle. Everyone is going to have to settle. And the part that women are going to have to settle on, just like I tell men they will have to settle, is that just like a man who has emotional high functioning, let's just say everybody got emotional intelligence, but the woman doesn't have the beauty that he would like, he's going to settle for a less beautiful woman. He is. If he doesn't have the money, he's going to settle for another woman. That's why when men get money, they go out and get a more beautiful wife, because what they know a lot of times is, I settled for this wife because I didn't have the money to get the most beautiful woman. Once they get a lot of money, they go out and get the beautiful women. They settle. And what women will have to realize is that when a man wants emotional intelligence, regulation, and you give that to him, but you're not the most beautiful woman, if he really could have his choice, he has settled for you. So just like he has settled for you, you want from him emotional regulation and you want money. When he doesn't have the money that you want, guess what? You will have to settle for a man that may not pay all your bills, but he does provide you some extra layer of protection, because although he couldn't support the family 100%, guess what? He is bringing some money to the table. Just like you are bringing some good looks to the table. You're not ugly. You're not ugly, ladies. You're not a dog. You're not like the gum on the bottom of his shoe, but you're not beautiful. And just like he may not be rich, he also ain't broke. You see? So everybody's going to settle. I don't know why we don't get this. Everyone is going to settle. And if you don't settle, you'll just be alone. And that's fine. If you want to be alone, be alone. But if you want to give up the benefits, because there are some benefits to settling. I know the non-benefits to settling are psychological, because what we think is, this is what I deserve. Men will say, hey, because I have emotional intelligence and I know how to treat a woman right, I deserve the most beautiful woman. You know what? Who cares what you think you deserve? The most beautiful women are going to be with men who make money. Sorry to tell you that. And women think because I'm nice and I'm real nice to a man, the man should just settle on me even though he doesn't find me attractive. Sorry, ladies, if he doesn't find you attractive, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. Marriage is about compromise. And men can't believe that just because they treat women nice, it's going to fully make up for the fact that they cannot 100% provide and protect a woman. It doesn't make up for that. It is part of the equation, but it doesn't make up fully for the part where a woman feels exposed. She feels a part of her isn't fully covered, because what she knows is if at any moment in time I can't financially provide or bring this money to the house, my cubs are at risk. So she is going to have a layer of a part of her that isn't 100% satisfied. But what she has to do is she has to also know that a man wants an emotionally regulated woman and a beautiful woman. If you ain't bringing at least one of the two, you're really in trouble. And what a woman has to realize is that she can't just substitute a man being attracted to her with her career and her money. She can't substitute that. He has to have a level of attraction to you, whatever that may be. And if he doesn't find your body type attractive, your skin color attractive, don't worry about it. Find a man that values that part in you. And then guess what, ladies? You've got that part of the equation covered. But a lot of women they get down on themselves because they're not attracted to that man. They're not attractive to that man. Don't worry about trying to be attractive to that man. Find you a man that finds you attractive. And like I tell you, if no man finds you attractive, that's on you. You've got to do something about that. You've got to do something about that. You've got to figure out why no man is attracted to you. Is it because you don't have emotional regulation and you're not peaceful? Is it because you physically don't take care of yourself? Which one of the equation are you struggling with? That's what women have to figure out. What is your struggle? Do you have the beauty, but you don't have the emotional regulation? Or do you have the emotional regulation, but your physical, your body, all of that also men find physically attractive, you don't have that. And that, whatever part you're missing, you gotta figure out how to fix that part of yourself. Women have a lot of options to make themselves beautiful and attractive to men. We got a lot of options, and we have to employ the options that men find attractive. A lot of women use beauty techniques that men don't even find attractive. You often hear a lot of men say, I don't like a woman who dresses like this. I don't want a woman who wears fake eyelashes or this. But women constantly will still wear those things. Well, listen, ladies, I just told you what the equation is. Emotional regulation and him being attracted to you. So what you've decided is, to hell what men find attractive physically, I'm going to wear whatever I want to wear. I'm going to wear eyelashes that can look like I can fly in the sky. I'm going to wear, lace front wigs that no man even likes. And I'm going to continue to do it. And what I want him to do is give me the same value he gives to another woman. It's not going to happen. Just because you're bringing in other things, he's not going to overlook it. Some men don't care about the eyelashes. Some men don't care about the lace front wigs. Some men don't care. Then get with that man. Get with that man, lady. Don't try to get with the man who said it matters to them. Don't try to get with the man who says it matters to them and then be mad about it. And men, don't be mad when women tell you, yeah, you got emotional regulation, but you can't provide and protect for me. So therefore, you too don't get access to the most beautiful women. You don't. You will need to compromise too. Sorry to tell you, you will need to compromise. And what you compromise on, I don't know. Maybe you'll want a cute woman who's got a bad attitude. You often see that. A man with no money may have a good looking woman, but she got a nasty attitude. Okay. Or what else you gonna compromise on? You compromise on a woman. You may have to compromise on a woman who's got a good attitude, but maybe she ain't a 10. She ain't a 10. Maybe she's a 6. Maybe she's a 7. I don't know what she is, but you're gonna have to compromise. Compromise isn't a dirty word in dating. And people need to get away from it. People need to get away from believing that compromise is a dirty word in dating, because it's not. They used to say swearing is a 4-letter word. People act like compromise is a 4-letter word. It's not a 4-letter word. Nothing's wrong with compromising in a relationship. The problem comes when people don't want to compromise. This is why men or women are missing each other. Because most of us aren't coming with everything. We just aren't. We just aren't. You got to find a person who you can compromise with, who you can make a deal with. And if you are a person who doesn't want to come to the table and compromise, then you will be alone. And you will miss out on those parts that really are wonderful in a relationship. But that's it. I know a lot of you thought I would be totally against Cam Newton and all in the favor of Dr. Bryant. And some of you thought I would be all in favor of Dr. Bryant and I would be all in favor of Cam Newton. But that's not where I land. I think I found problems with what both of them said. Like I said, I think that they both discounted some of the real primary drivers of relationships. Good luck to everyone out there. A good luck to you in finding what makes you happy. But like I said, don't be afraid to compromise, and don't be afraid to confront the truths surrounding around what men want and what women want. And instead of always trying to change women or change men, seek more to figure out how you can find a person who you could compromise with. That's it. Talk to y'all later. Bye.